Hello, welcome to live match reaction of Arsenal 3, Crystal Palace 2, Carabao Cup quarterfinal. Palace unfortunately get knocked out by Arsenal. I'm joined here by AJ as we discuss all the happenings from today's game at the Emirates. AJ, your thoughts, besides being gutted?
I got it. I'm gutted. It was like so close, but so far. At the end of the day, Arsenal had to bring on the more star players, but this is it. You wanna play at the very best. You want to win the best trophies. This is what you have to face. And in the end, we got caught short. We were unlucky. Congratulations to Arsenal. I'm just gutted. That's just me. That is what it is. That's the only way I can define it. We had an excellent start to the game. I was very getting my hopes up and got excited. And in the second half, Arsenal turned up and we didn't. And there's positives we can take. The fact that we pushed all the way to the quarterfinal. The manager does take it very seriously. We did get decent performances out of some players, maybe not out of others, but at the end of the day, I'm proud of my team. We came far. We got a really top side, and they had to resort to bringing on their top players to get the best of us. I can't have any shame in that. Well done to Arsenal, and we move on to the next game on Saturday and get our revenge, hopefully.
Yeah, let's talk about the lineup first. So Palace, you mentioned about Glover taking the club seriously. We started a very strong lineup. The only change was Kapora for Munoz, obviously suspended. I want to actually get your opinion on Kapora, but obviously Arsenal rotated big time. No Odegaard, no Saka, no Gabriel, no Havertz to start the match. They all came on later on, except for Havertz. So your thoughts on the lineup in general and Kader Kapora? How do you think it did today?
Starting with the lineup, it was as strong as it could possibly be. I think the manager did the right thing in terms of selection. He put the strongest possible team we could put together. So I don't have any complaints on it. Couple players I was a little bit disappointed in it, but maybe that's just me being a bit more bitter about the defeat rather than getting myself concerned about who started. Kapora, maybe it's a bit too soon for him. I think he did all right bits, but in the booking, it was almost like he was doing a bit of what's the word? Almost doing too much, if that made sense. There was a bit in the first half where he sort of broke in. It looked like he was going to create an opportunity, and it's like he kind of got a little bit too excited with it. Maybe a couple of lesser opponents down the line, potentially alone down the line, but I wasn't angry about the performance. I wasn't really disappointed as such. It just seemed like a young man that just needs to kind of he needed to grow into the game, and I think that booking didn't help, and that's probably why I got hooked at halftime. Does that mean I'll close the door on him? Not at all. I still think he's got a great future here. If he, naturally, the best thing about being that young and in that situation is you can learn from it and improve from it. And I feel that Glasner is the right manager that will help him to improve and get better. But against a good opponent like Arsenal, I thought he held his own for a period of time. He will learn from it, hopefully, and get better as time goes on.
Yeah, with you with that. I don't think he had a great debut, but it's tough, man. Listen, let's get into the game because Arsenal were vulnerable that first half. Third minute, long ball by Henderson over the top. Mateta bullies Kivior, just bullies him, takes it to the left side, left-footed goal. Great finish by JP. Really was great finish. And we're up 1-0, and obviously, we're flying. What are your thoughts on JP's performance first half?
He was giving Kivior all kinds of issues and all kinds of problems. I thought it was a great goal. If any of my neighbors or anyone within my postcode does watch the stream, I'd like to apologize because when that goal went in, mate, I let the whole world know that Mateta scored. I nearly lost my voice in like real time. So it was a great stop. Great show of strength, great pressure. It just seemed like the ball over the top, the route one was giving them all kinds of issues. in the first half, and maybe obviously it's hindsight in it. Maybe it would have been an opportunity for us to maybe get a couple of goals there. I think we should have maybe got a second one in the first half, but like I said, with hindsight, it's easy to sort of kind of talk about that now. But Dare had a great game. I thought he was very, very solid, very, very strong. I was quite surprised when he did come off, but to be fair, and Nketiah got a goal later on in the game as well, so that'll do wonders for his confidence as well. And more importantly, keep Mateta on his toes, because yes, Mateta is in a very decent form under Glasner, but the most important thing we need to do now is keep him on his toes, give him something to worry about, give him something in the thought of the back of his head that, you know what, you've got a Nketiah here that is capable of getting goals in the team as well. I was relatively quite happy with his performance.
Yeah, I won't talk about the second half yet because the whole game changed at halftime. But I think they joke about we could have been 2-0 up. You're right. 40th minute, Star had a really good chance, run down the right, had a great shot. Raya saved it, but he parries it, remember? And he goes right across the follow up. That was it. But honestly, there were a lot of good opportunities for Arsenal in the first half. One that sticks out to me is the Henderson save from. Just double check my notes here. The free kick, Sterling shot, 29th minute, made a really good save on that. And then Kapor made a decent header, a good play. And then obviously the half comes, and you're right, we had to take Kapor off. He's on the yellow card, his first start. Klein comes on for him. But the most important thing is Arsenal. They bring on Saliba for Partey, Odegaard for one year, and it changes the game. It just changes the game. Not long after that, big save by Henderson on the Sterling. Remember that one, the save that Sterling, he saves for Sterling, and Sterling gets a rebound, hits the crossbar. So we're hanging on. And then finally, 53rd minute, Jesus gets a goal. If you remember it, he dinks it over. Henderson, Chalobah goes down way too early. What are your thoughts on the goal by Jesus? The first goal, he scores 3, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was gutting. Maybe I'm being a little bit over the top. I felt like we could have probably defended that one where he chipped over. Then I saw Lacroix end up in the back of the net as well, trying to slide through and clear it. Maybe we could have done well. Not even maybe. We could have done a lot better with that sort of slight side of the defending. Obviously, one of Jesus's goals was offside, but
we'll get to that.
no.
We'll get to that.
I know we're going to get to that, but obviously there's no VAR in this side of the competition for us. So, I mean, that's the quality difference. They've got a 150 grand a week striker who doesn't play week in, week out for them, and can kind of come into these kind of games and show his class and show his worth. For our defense, I thought we could have done a bit better with it. I'm going to be honest. I felt like it made him look too good. But we just got to pick up the lessons from it, man. It's going to be one of them ones where defensively we got to just be a little bit more better. I feel like our defense looked frustrated after Jesus' second one went in, to be brutally honest. We just looked frustrated. I thought Chalobah kind of wasn't 10 out of 10 as he's been for the past couple of games. I think there's something to be said. I would definitely love to sign him on a permanent if he stays on a decent amount of form, but obviously I do not want to be in a position where we are paying an overprice for a player that way. But we did the best we could with what we had. I feel like if we did have Munoz in the squad, I think it would have been a different turnout defensively and obviously offensively, but it was just gutting goals to see go in. That chip definitely could have been prevented.
Yeah, let's move on to I see Tim in the chat. So I dropped the link. Anyone wants to join the show? Again, remember, please like and subscribe if you can. We are getting close to 6,000 subscribers, so if you could do that, it'd be great. After the 1-1 goal, Glasner makes 2 subs. Kamara and Nketiah come on for Eze and Mateta. Mateta's sub, I understand he was a little bit tired. Eze, we talked about it pre-show. Didn't think he had a great game. I think it was poor. I just think my thoughts on the midfield are as follows. I think Lerma and Hughes give us a lot of work rate. They are busy, but they don't help us keep possession. I think a team like Arsenal, you got to keep possession more. And I think today, it just told. I think at one point, the commentator said they had 90% possession compared to our 10%. So at some point, they're going to score. So obviously, a few minutes after the after the 1-1, we get a couple of chances. But then 72nd minute, Jesus gets a goal. He makes a run between Chalobah and Lacroix. I believe the pass was from Saka, but he's offside. But unfortunately, there's no VAR in the Carabao Cup. I don't know why. There is none. So what are your thoughts? You just mentioned, what any more further thoughts on that goal?
To be fair, yes, offside. I know it's offside by a minuscule amount, but at the end of the day, I don't understand how elite competition quarterfinals don't have VAR. And it's just sod's law that at one of the many occasions where Palace need a sporting decision on their side, we don't seem to get it. And I don't understand why these linesmen aren't keeping up with play. I've never understood that from somebody that goes to games live and sees certain situations. A lot of the time I've seen the linesmen's a good 10, 15 yards behind the last man. So how are they even going to be able to tell, even if they were in a position to be able to do so? But that's just the standard of officiating across elite football in England anyway. It's not particularly great. But I don't want to use it as an excuse, because obviously if the shoe fell on the other foot and it kind of played to our advantage, I'll be sitting there laughing my ass off right now. So let me not sit here and be too bitter about it.
Fair enough.
It is just one of them situations where I feel like defensively we fell asleep in a few situations, and I just think that a team with Arsenal with that kind of quality that they have made the most of it. So once again, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. It's a great way of saying it is what it is. Make a sub on 79 minutes. I think it was Hughes comes off again, working hard, comes off for Devaney. A minute later, from the halfway line, Jesus breaks in, gets the third 3-1. Great pass by Odegaard. 4 minutes later, we don't give up though. What I liked about the team was they didn't give up. Obviously, listen, it was an uphill battle. If that first half Arsenal team stays for the entire 90 minutes, we have a chance. But once they bring on those subs, we are going to be fighting uphill. You know, we're bringing on Kamada, and no put down to Kamada and Ketchit, Devaney, and Klein, but they're bringing on Saliba, Odegaard, Gabriel, Saka. That doesn't match up. But I think it's a great goal on a cross from Klein for 3-2, and we fight, but we ended up losing the game 3-2. It's frustrating. I mean, it is what it is, but it was tough. Any final thoughts on the game in general, AJ, before I bring on Tim?
I think it was a great goal. It was a great header from Nketiah, and I think it will do him the world of confidence. I think
definitely
he's been quite frustrating to watch at times, and it was quite poetic the fact that he did it against Arsenal. So good for him. I thought Kamada looked all right when he came on as well. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be controversial. I am finding myself getting a little bit frustrated with Eze. I'm going to be honest. I can't shake that one off me, to be fair. I just feel like we discussed pre-show, obviously there was a few goals that he had disallowed, and obviously his luck was on his side for the first couple of games at the beginning of the season. I wouldn't even put it down to particularly laziness, but there's just not really, I don't know what's going on with him. And for the pedestal that we put him on doesn't mean that he is above scrutiny or is above being criticized. And that's not me trying to blame him for today, because at the end of the day, I think with the players that Arsenal bring onto the pitch anyway, we were going to be in a bit of a struggle. But I feel like I need to see more. I just need to see a little bit more out of him, hopefully over the winter period. But apart from that, it's just a bit of bad luck, to be fair. That's just it. It just wasn't our night. Maybe next season, we've got the FA Cup. We've still got a lot to fight for in the league. So we kick on, man, and then move on to Saturday. I'll be there, and hopefully we'll turn it on a little bit more.
Fair enough. Again, everyone, I'll drop the link. I've dropped the link in the chat if you want to join us. I'll bring Tim on now. Tim, how are you?
How are we, guys? How you doing?
disappointed, but we move on. What's your thoughts on the game?
Started.
Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed too, but and maybe Looney's making this point, and maybe I need to watch the game back and see if we were allowing ourselves to be pinned back just with too much and too tentative in the game. I did think our passing let us down, you know, a lot. I think we gave the ball away far too cheaply, and that has been a problem this entire season. But having said that, um, I have been, and maybe this is just my red and blue colored glasses here. I have been desperate for a manager who is willing to go for it in a cup competition, and that's what we got. I've also been desperate for a manager who is unafraid to take risks and play talent that may not be perfectly ready, but deserves a chance. And we got that today. So I'm having a hard time being mad at the result. I don't love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like scraping for positives here. But having said that, I I am finding more and more reasons to like this manager, to like the direction of travel for the club. I do think though, if we're going to be fair, what this result does expose is we need some help in January. We sure do. We definitely need some attacking help in January. Um but overall, guys, my main thought on the game is that didn't get the ball to Sar enough, and when Sar did get the ball, boy, he did give it away cheaply, way too often. I liked the Kamada sub, I like the Eddie sub, and I like those two playing together. I thought the last 15 minutes was what I had hoped to see for much of the game, but we put him under a lot of pressure way too late. Eddie's goal was outstanding. Um, Backline got a little bit exposed, but again, it's easy to get exposed when you give the ball away cheaply in midfield. It's really tough for your back line to stay in shape and defend when you're giving the ball away way too easily
Right.
in midfield. So, I mean, look, disappointing, but this is one of those games that shows that, hey, we've got the right manager in my opinion, and also we have some weaknesses that we need to solve for. Clearly, we need some attacking help.
All
So
right. So
Tim, you drew some very very clear points because yes, I agree with the fact that I think we've got the right manager. I've lost no faith in the manager or Glasner whatsoever, and as far as I'm concerned, you definitely highlighted a very fair point. It's not anger. I guess it's more disappointment
Yeah,
in terms of just what the
yeah,
result was rather than what the situation is.
yeah. I think
Going
that's
into
fair.
January, we know we're not going to spend £100 million. It's just not going to happen. One way or another, even with the takeover talks and all that rubbish going on,
Yeah.
we know size wise, squad wise, we might be able to bring in one or two. So where would you start in terms of, I wouldn't even say players as such specific players, but what positions would you be kind of looking at? Because we probably only will be able to get one or two of those over the line in January.
I think you have to have somebody who is either a two-footed attacker who can play in the 10 like a Cherky, which we're not going to get, or somebody who is experienced who can come in and challenge and give us something different on that right-handed, right-sided, not right-handed, right-sided 10. I want to see that, and we definitely need some depth at left wing back. There's just no question about that. I really want to see more of Kapora. I would like to see more of Caleb Kapora. I do think there's something there. So that was fun to see. But Ty needs he needs some competition there. Um, but I don't know when why am I forgetting his name? Come on, our perpetually injured Brazilian number 10.
France, my favorite.
Mateus
Thank you.
France.
Thank you. You know, like we need the APB on that guy. We need him back. So we've got to get him back, and we've got to get somebody else that I hope does not block Jez, but I really want to see something different from the right-sided 10. Like I want more balance in attack, and I think if we get help in those two positions, and we take the time to get Wharton fully fit, I think we'll be fine. I think, and in fact, we may even stack up some wins.
So I want to go back to some points you brought up before, Tim, about Caleb Kapor and Glasner and just the way he played today. So I'm gutted by the loss, but I'm not concerned about how he played, because that first half we gave them a game, even though, again, I think the stats might have shown 70% possession for them, 30% for us. I think our midfield, Ebbs, Hughes, Lerma, again, they fought hard, but they never got control of the midfield at any point. And I think when you keep giving the ball back to a team like Arsenal, and they can bring on Saka, Odegaard, they're going to end up, doing well. I thought Kapor did well. I wouldn't want to see him again, honestly, until Stockport. I think that'd be a great game for him to play at home. The home crowd would be nice. I would put Klein back in for. I want you guys to Klein back in for Saturday. I thought Klein did really well today. A great cross on the goal, and I just thought that Arsenal targeted Kapora. A lot of the Trossard was. Trossard was having his way with the kid. I don't blame him. He's 18 years old, so I'm looking forward to seeing him play again. But with recruitment, no. I try to make the point during the previous show. I mean, people like to banter Arsenal, and I'm up there too because I hate Arsenal, but they have a very good team. Much as they may not be able to win the title this year, I think comparing us to Arsenal, just saying, where we compete, today's not the day to do that. It's just not, because they're a better team than we are. I just think that it was a one-off, and hopefully we could have got more out of the game, because we were up for 55 minutes until they got the the tying goal, but equalizer. But I'm just frustrated, but I'm not really bothered about comparing or trying to think of adding players to this squad. We is what it is right now, and going to Saturday, to me talking all this thing, but going to Saturday, like, my only thing is just get Klein in that lineup. Sorry, one more thing. I want to give praise to Nketiah and Kamada, because I thought both of them last weekend have done really, really well. And if you were to start those two, I wouldn't have a problem with that on Saturday.
I wouldn't either.
Nketiah has to be a striker. He can't play as a 10. You can tell the last two games he's much better as a number 9. But go ahead.
No,
I rambled a little bit, but go ahead.
No. I think that's a great point. Patrick, you make a great point there. I think that there is something to be said for the partnership that could emerge. It's not there yet, but that could emerge between Kamada and Nketiah, because they do quicken the pace. When they come on, I would love to see them start. I would love to see us try that, Patrick, because I do think we play a little quicker. We move up the pitch a little bit quicker. The passing didn't quite get there. But again, I mean, Kamada makes some great tackles in this game. He made some great tackles.
He really did. He got him today, yeah.
Yeah, he did. He got himself about. He's putting, balls into areas. And here's the thing, I don't want to oversell him, because I still think he has a lot to prove. But why I like your point there, Patrick, is especially on the left side, we need somebody who's going to make runs. Now, we're looking for Mitchell to do that. Certainly. Right. We want Mitchell to do that. But I need both 10s to be making runs, getting to the box, being there for the cutback ball. And Kamada does do that. So, yeah, I'd like to. I wouldn't mind seeing more of them. I think that's a great point, Patrick.
What about you, AJ? What would you want to see Kamada or Nketiah play on Saturday against Arsenal?
Not that I wouldn't want to see them play. I would rather Glasner does something kind of similar to what he did today, essentially. So keep it the way things are, and then bring him on in the second half and let it grow organically. Then in time, because remember, the winter Christmas period is very intense, and you're looking at a game every 3 or 4 days. So there's
Fair enough.
nothing to prevent us from changing that come Southampton, which is going to be a little bit more of a, I want to say easier game because there's no such thing as an easy game in the Premier League, but a little bit more of a game where you can experiment because bless them, Southampton are in a lot more of a compromising position than Arsenal.
They're not next. It's not them. It's Bournemouth. Remember, Bournemouth away, then Southampton.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Bournemouth,
Bournemouth
yeah.
or Southampton. Either the
Yeah.
two. So
Yeah,
that's where my mind sets up with that.
got you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let me end on this, and let you guys kind of wrap this up here. I do think it was very fun. Patrick, you were probably able to see this on US feeds. AJ, you might not have, but after Nketiah scores the goal, and I think this is one of my moments that I liked. As soon as he scores the goal, he is rousing up the team. He's like, "Come on, let's go." Let's, like he's going for it. And I need that. Like, it's great to see him get a goal. It's even better to see him get a goal and say, we're not done here. We're not done. And that is, that's encouraging. Disappointing. And I don't know that we're going to get anything out of the weekend because again, they are a very talented side, but, we'll see. And you may be right. I mean, I do think Trossard did put Kapor on toast in a couple of occasions there, Patrick. I'm not going to say he didn't, but the reason I think he grew into the game and why I wouldn't mind seeing him on the weekend is as the half goes on, they kept targeting Trossard. But like when Trossard gets the ball, one-on-one, Kapora does have he needs some help. He needs like Mitchell to teach him a bit more about one-on-one defending. Having said that, boy, were they targeting him to try to get the ball to Trossard, and he cut it out 3 or 4 times. And you know what? I mean, I think it's a performance from a kid that needed 45 minutes. He gets the yellow. He's definitely going to have to work on one-on-one defending, but I would love to see him get more of a chance.
Team, appreciate you jumping on. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Up the Palace. See you guys.
Take care, Tim. AJ, I want to get some comments from the chat before we end, actually. So I want to address this comment here. My friend Sean, what my friend Sean talking about the first goal. Do you remember the first goal, AJ?
Oh, one of theirs.
Sean says, I disagree with Patrick. There, Kapor should start again. A Klein was at fault for the first goal. Our position was the first goal the chip or was that the shot?
No, that was the shot, to be fair. But I mean, look, you got to sink or swim with this situation. I think with Kapor, it's a situation where it's like, okay, do we do it? There's one of several ways you can do this. It could be A, he's not good enough. He needs to go out on loan, or he's not good enough, full stop. He's never going to make it here at Palace, right? Then you've got the situation where you might actually do something crazy and start him again.
You're talking about Kapora?
Yep. And then
on loan, remember, he's only 18. He's only 18 years old.
No. But, I'm just saying,
I got you.
Hypotheticals. You could potentially stop him again, let him go again against Arsenal. But obviously, we know they're going to naturally play a stronger 11 on Saturday than they would have done today. And then maybe do the same thing, see how he plays out, maybe give him the, 60 minutes this time, for example, and then potentially sub him off. Or you go down the other avenue where you kind of do what you've done with the Benny. Now that, Munoz potentially would be back in the team at this point, he would then be sitting on the bench and then bring him on if the game is going well. There's so many different things with this kid. I mean, he's 18 years old. He didn't have a terrible game. He just didn't have the best game.
Right.
And for that to be his first start against a club like Arsenal, that boy can grow and he can improve naturally. Not every single player in the world starts off and has a 10 out of 10 in their first game. It just doesn't work that way. Otherwise, you'd be calling every kid a wonder kid. So, I don't object to it. I don't think it's a situation where we need to start talking about, not playing him ever again. It wouldn't bother me if Glasner decided to play him against maybe not as soon as Saturday, but maybe against one of the lesser Premier League teams, or maybe bring him on in that game.
Right.
Obviously, I like your idea when you said about the whole Stockport thing. That's potentially a good opportunity for him as well. Maybe for him to have a chance against lesser
Yeah.
opposition. But I did feel that at some points in that first half, he was coming into the game. He was coming forward. He was cutting out the crosses when they were trying to single him out. And even that situation where he came forward and he cut into the box, and then obviously he kind of lost control of the ball a little bit. Those are just young nerves. He will get over that. He will improve. He has a good enough coaching team and a good enough squad around him.
Right.
Ironically, somebody like a Joe Ward that will be able to put an arm over his shoulder and say, "You know what, mate? You did bits. Here's how you're going to improve." So I'm not even worried about that situation. I feel like he can come back into the squad. I didn't think he was that much out of his depth, to be fair.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, clearly, Saturday, Arsenal will be starting Saka, Odegaard, Gabriel, Saliba, probably Jesus now because he scored bloody hat trick. So that would be a problem for us. And you're gonna want experienced players. Even if he starts Kapor, he knows better than I do. That's fine. But we're gonna have to change up a bit because this is gonna be like that 10 of those 11 players have played the last 4 or 5 games in a row. So at some point, we have to get something off the bench to either start or freshen up. Maybe don't know what Decore. Maybe he's not 100% fit yet. You got Decore as an option. I already mentioned Nketiah and Kamada. I mentioned Klein. So there are some options. I wouldn't change the back three, but maybe if you need to change Chalobah, you got Richards in. Again, we don't have a lot of depth, but we do have options. It's gonna be interesting to see what Glasgow does on Saturday. I'm going to wrap it up, actually, AJ. I don't think anybody else wants to jump on. So do you have any closing thoughts on today's game? Disappointing, obviously. Anything closing thoughts on today?
Disappointed, but not disheartened. No, disappointed, but not disheartened. I think that, we've still got a Premier League to push ourselves up to. We've still got the FA Cup in the new year. Let's just not let this go to our heads. When you start going down the path of what the internet says and this person out and that person out and that, it becomes toxic. It's our first defeat in quite a while. So, and it was against Arsenal in a quarterfinal. So,
right.
As long as I see something a little bit of an improvement come the weekend, we can worry about it then. But as it stands right now, yeah, we're gutted. Chill, let the Arsenal fans have their little moments, and then you know what? We'll try and get our revenge on Saturday and take it from there.
Yeah, I hear you. Want to thank Tim for jumping on, everyone in the chat. Disappointing loss today to Arsenal 3-2 in the Carabao Cup quarterfinal, but we move on. As AJ said, we move on to Saturday. Hopefully, we'll get revenge. Be very sweet to take 3 points at Selhurst versus Arsenal evening 5:30 kickoff. So that should be interesting under the lights. But enjoy that game, AJ. For me, it's Patrick. Thanks everyone for joining. Again, as you exit, please like and subscribe, and we'll be back. Wait, we've got Arsenal, so we're gonna have a preview show coming up probably tomorrow or Friday. There will be player ratings for that game, and then live match reaction with Hambo. Hambo's back, by the way, people. Hambo's back on Saturday for match reaction. Tune in for that. But for me, Patrick, thank you, and up the Palace.